Hi, my name is T. Holland. I am the owner at My Centers Incorporated. I've been in the industry for right around 23 years, helping out customers fix their rodent issues. I love this job. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy working on the exterior of your house. That's me.
It's game day, at Raising Cane's. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-ordered chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemon. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Truthfulness, giving it. Don't do that. Okay. All right.
And you know, I explained that I said, just for the record, I did speak with Sergeant Baker as well and explained that when I asked for indicators for corroboration, just to speak objectively of indicators of corroborators and not comment on truthfulness or believability. we had that conversation, so.
All right, we'll adjourn.
Yes.
I'll turn it over to Dr. Wood.
All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to instruct you all that this witness's opinion, and frankly, any witness's opinion of anybody else's veracity, that is, whether they're being truthful or not, is entirely irrelevant. It's frankly inappropriate. Strike that from your minds. It is entirely up to you, the jury, to determine the credibility of any and all witnesses.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Love.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Gaither, without stating your opinion about anybody's truthfulness, would you please tell the jury whether or not you saw any indicator that during your interview that Quindarius Zachary came in to get one person in trouble and to spare Moncton Demikian and Woody? Any objective indicator?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation both.
Sustained.
Say that thing.
Did you consider or did you take from Quindarius Zachary the information that he gave to you about Moncton, Demikian, Shannon, as incriminating, or did you understand it, or did it sort of get them out of situations that you thought they were responsible for?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
What you said, ma'am.
It was incriminating.
As to all three?
Yes.
When you talk to Mr. Zachary and he encouraged you after Detective Thorpe got in the room to talk to Bushi, she knows. Did you know who Bushi was?
Yes.
Did you know her real name, her given name?
At the time, I believe I did.
Did you make any effort to go out and interview Bushi as it related to the Donovan Thomas murder?
No.
And why not?
It seemed relevant for Investigator Thorpe to interview her, seeing that he was a lead detective on the Donovan Thomas murder.
And do you know or have any information about whether anyone after Detective Thorpe may have interviewed this person?
Relevance.
Sustained.
All right. When you got information from Mr. Zachary about the 1428 Adele Avenue and 1903 Drew Drive shootings, what people did you take out warrants for? Do you recall?
After his interview,
After, okay, before or after? Who did you take out warrants for the Adele Drive shooting?
Quindarius Zachary, Antonio Sledge, and Demikian Garlington.
Did either of those people at any time during this incident, to your knowledge, had dreads? Either of the three you took out warrants for.
No, they didn't.
Given that those aren't the only three people, and you said after the interview, you questioned me just now, you said after the interview. Did you take out these warrants before or after your interview with Quindarius Zachary?
They were before.
Okay. And after the interview with Quindarius Zachary, did you take out any more warrants?
I didn't.
Why, after your interview with Quindarius Zachary, didn't you take out warrants for Ali Caldwell?
Mhm.
Ali Caldwell, for instance. What was going on?
I didn't have any corroborating information to do so. I tried locating a telephone number for him. To my knowledge, there wasn't an eyewitness that can identify him outside of Quindarius saying that he was there. You know, I didn't have anything else to go on to corroborate what Quindarius stated.
Now, when you say that you didn't, is that the way that, explain why that meant something for you as an investigator? For you personally, not any other entity or any other person, just you.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Okay. What about Tay? Did you want more information about Tay?
Your Honor, leading.
Overruled.
Did you want more information about Tay's involvement before you took out a warrant for Tay?
I did.
Did you want more information about Shannon's involvement before you took out a warrant for Shannon?
I did.
I feel like I missed somebody.
Trade-on.
Trade-on. Did you want more information about Trade-on's involvement?
Yes.
After your investigation of the ADL Drive shooting, did you cease or stop investigating the back and forth between YSL and its gang or any other group?
Did it cease?
Yes. Did you stop? Or did you continue looking into other incidents?
No, it was definitely more incidents after.
Okay. And were you responsible for, or were you assisting in investigating those incidents as well?
Yes.
Was 2015 in terms of gang activity,
Excuse me.
Sustained. I don't know exactly what the question's gonna be, but
I'll say the question and the court can make the decision based on the actual question. Was the activity you saw in 2015 that you considered part of this retaliatory shooting, was that more or less activity that you saw in either 2014 or 2016?
overruled. I'll give Plain Foundation.
Were you a gang investigator with APD in 2014?
Yes.
Were you a gang investigator with APD in 2016?
I was promoted in March of 2016.
Were you with the Atlanta Police Department still in 2016?
Yes.
Are you able to tell the jury about your observations of the number of gang incidents or shooting incidents involving gangs in 2014 and 2016 as it related to the Atlanta Police Department?
An exact number?
No, just, are you able to talk about your observations of the amount of gang activity as it related to shootings in 2014?
Your Honor, again, now that we've heard the question, I'm gonna object to relevance.
Ms. Love, maybe ask a different question.
Was the amount of gang activity that you investigated during the 2015 period where you were looking at YSL and If Gang, was that a usual number of gang-related shootings for you as an investigator?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance, it's the same question.
Sustained.
Now, when you were talking to Mr. Zachary and pictures were placed before him during the conversation about the Donovan Thomas murder, when Mr. Zachary indicated that he saw or that Yak was the person he was looking at, do you remember he asked was YEK or somebody said YEK?
Yes.
Who was that a picture of?
Mr. Diamante Kendricks.
Okay. And when he indicated Shannon and said, is it SHANON, who was he looking at a picture of?
Shannon Jackson.
All right. And when he indicated Nard, who was he looking at a picture of?
Demise McMullen.
And when he indicated Dua, who was he indicating, or who was he looking at a picture of?
Justin Card.
When you spoke about wanting to, when you spoke about the Browns Mill Road shooting and the surveillance from the Citgo that was shown to Mr. Zachary, do you remember him saying something like, I don't know nothing about that incident?
Yes.
And do you recall the reason why you had him identify who he believed with any amount of certainty was a person, Nard? Do you recall why you had him to do that?
To get more corroborating information, that case we were still in the process of working it until we tried to get everyone identified and charged accordingly. We knew that he was involved with YSL members and
I can, yeah. Did you have information or were you working on leads as it related to a Nard,
yes,
the Browns Mill Road shooting?
yes,
All right. And I think I asked you whether you knew who Nard was at the time that Mr. Zachary signed that piece of paper showing Nard.
correct.
And am I correct that at the time you hadn't yet identified him, or you had and were still trying to confirm?
I believe I had his name. We were trying to confirm if he was a person in the surveillance video.
Now, when you said something like, did I hear you say Big Nose Nard that had been charged with kidnapping? Did I hear you say something like that during the interview?
I believe Quindarius said that.
Okay. And did you have information that Demise McMullen had been arrested for kidnapping?
Yes,
Did you pull that report, that incident report?
yes,
And did you also, during your investigation, obtain a phone number for Demise McMullen or Nard?
yes.
And was that number 404-217-6? I'm asking a question.
Sustained.
Do you recall the number that you obtained for Demise McMullen?
I know at the top of my head, no.
Would seeing, first of all, keep a file for that case?
The kidnapping case,
Not the kidnapping case, but for the Browns Mill Road shooting case.
I did.
And did you have that file after you left the Atlanta Police Department?
No,
What did you do with that file?
and I left it with the Atlanta Police Department in a file cabinet.
In a file cabinet?
Yes, ma'am.
Describe what that file looked like, if you can, to the jury.
It's actually what 8 inches thick. Reddish brown file folder binder. Had clips in it. With a bunch of paperwork.
Did you look at with the state, any such file before coming here right now?
Did I look at it? Yes.
Okay. And did you recognize that to be the file?
Yes.
Okay. Was showing you a portion of that file refresh your memory as to what phone number that you had?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Get all-day allergy relief with new instantly soothing Claritin Liquid. The Claritin Clear.
An early lunch, you got it one. An early and long lunch.
All right, we'll do.
Yeah. All right. Y'all want to take a look at that before so we can sit back?
Your Honor,
I'm just gonna put it back in the condition it was in just a minute ago and then permit them to look at it.
Your Honor,
Yes.
before we ask Investigator Gaither any questions, I would ask the court to inquire of the state when they received this file and how they received this file, because we're completely in the blind.
Okay.
We went over to the Atlanta Police Department.
When? Is your mic on?
Just before we served, I think we called it complete case files from Operation Planners incident. This is where we got this one, the other ones that were included in that discovery tranche from the Atlanta Police Department. That's where they came from. The one titled Complete Case Files of 2015 Operation Planners. If the court will allow me, I will ask our legal assistants to give me the date that we served the file called Complete Case Files of Operation Planners.
Okay, and so the contents of that file were served whenever that was?
Yes.
All right, what led you to suddenly ask Detective Gaither if this was her file?
As I was looking through for a particular number, I was trying to find both that photograph where Mr. Zachary had signed 8515 Nard on the Brownsville Road photograph. So I was looking for that. And I was just looking through everything that we had. And in looking through it, because I knew I'd seen it somewhere, I found it in this particular file folder. And looking at it, I initially I'll show the court what I was about to show.
Well, why don't you put it back together? And I know we're asking you to do several things at once. So how about put it back together and then you can finish your answer.
Yes. Oh, this. Yeah, the one that's called Operation Planners Complete Case File. That's what this is.
Look at it.
For Demise McMullen or Nard.
Yes.
And Was that number 404-217-6? Your Honor, I'm asking a question.
Sustained.
Do you recall the number that you obtained for Demise McMullen?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Would seeing, first of all, did you keep a file for that case?
The kidnapping case,
Not the kidnapping case, but for the Browns Mill Road shooting case.
I did.
And did you have that file after you left the Atlanta Police Department?
No,
What did you do with that file?
I left it with the Atlanta Police Department in a file cabinet.
In a file cabinet?
Yes, ma'am.
Describe what that file looked like, if you can, to the jury.
It's approximately 8 inches thick, reddish brown file folder binder. Had clips in it, with a bunch of paper.
Did, did you look at with the state, any such file before coming here right now?
Did I look at it? Yes.
Okay. And did you recognize that to be the file? Yes. Okay. We're showing you a portion of that file. Refresh your memory as to what phone number that you had.
Your Honor, may we approach?
A portion of this file that contained a report about Demise McMullen and a kidnapping. And it had Demise Nard McMullen. So I asked Dennis, whose writing is this? And let's see. I don't see where he wrote me back, but while I was in the back just now, I asked Sergeant Gaither, whose writing is this? And she said, I think I asked her in the, like, whose writing is this? And I don't remember whether she said it was hers or Dennis's, but I asked her if this looks like her file. And she said, that looks like my file, what's in it? And I said, here. And I showed her what was in it, the stuff that they were looking at, that I was looking at. And she said, it looks like my file. And so I came out here, and that's what I asked her. I asked her, did she see that? Did I show her? Did she see it? Did it look like her file? She's answered the way that the court is aware. And we're looking at the discovery that we served, and Mr. Atkins is telling me that we served that in 2022. So I was, wait, we'll confirm. I'll take that back. We'll confirm when we served. But I know that we provided this information, because after I saw that, I went and looked up.
When were the discussions about whether, Sergeant Gather's file, existed or was destroyed in the hack or whatever? When did those occur? Before or after that discovery was served?
I think after, but yeah, but I don't think, I know for a fact that this, whatever was discussed, like when I looked through that file, I don't see in that file either anything that was like,
Actually, I didn't either in my quick cursory review of it. In fact, there are some reports.
Whatever you want from me. I got it off TikTok Shop 2 days ago. It's meant to watch my puppy. I didn't expect.
Neither in my quick cursory review of it. In fact, there are some reports from other investigators, and I don't see any handwritten notes or anything like that. But I guess, did you recall at this time that what everybody previously thought was that Sergeant Gather's file no longer existed?
did she recall or did I recall?
Did you recall? When you went and asked her, hey, is this your file?
No,
You didn't remember that? Did you remember, when she was like, yeah, that might be my file. We're like, huh. So it actually exists after all. Or were you like, not even remembering that it didn't exist?
no, I remember when they were asking her questions about interviews or certain parts, certain things within that she said were within her file, and I didn't think that's not in what I have. I've never seen that, so I cannot say no. I didn't say, oh, this now it is, because nothing that she said didn't exist existed there still. I didn't see anything.
If you want to take a look at it, and if let you ask Sergeant Gather whatever you want to about it, or if there's still things missing from it. I'm sure that, this is obviously a hard copy paper file, and I imagine in this day and age, people don't download everything from the computer, and maybe she had an electronic file also, and that's what she meant, but y'all can find out.
Can I just clarify the record a little bit?
Yeah.
And I would very much like to look at that file. Last time, and I believe it was last time, I can't recall how many times Investigator Gaither has testified, but I'm going to say last time. She took the stand.
Right.
There were specific things that she said she did, and they were not in the reports given to us. I'm aware that the state gave us electronic copies of certain documents in 2022. No one's disputing that. She claimed that, well, I did do that and I did document it. I wrote reports.
Right.
And I said, well, where are the reports? Because we had discovery and it didn't have any of these reports pertaining to the work she claimed she did. And so then we talked to Judge Glanville about it. Judge Glanville kind of summarily attributed it to the hack, which I didn't necessarily agree with, but he also told the state, you need to go to APD and make due diligence your best to find this file. Everyone was looking for this file. And then apparently the state obtained this file and never reported back to the court or to defense counsel, hey, this file that everyone was looking for, Investigator Gaither testified, we found it, this is what's in it, here you go, because my understanding, I haven't looked at it, but other people on the team have, the new discovery that was served does not contain that amount of information from the file. That I'm looking at how thick that file is. There's like one police report and the new tranche of information that they're claiming they served after the file, but at no point did anyone from the state tell anyone on the defense, to my knowledge, at least to me, hey, remember that file that you guys were asking about and Judge Glanville instructed us to go find? We actually went and we found this file. And I just don't know how that happens, that we're learning that this missing file has apparently been discovered. I guess we're going to review it to see. I don't know how we learn about that in the middle of direct testimony. That's just tough for me to reconcile with everyone being above board.
Yeah, I'm reviewing the discovery actually that was served, discovery 1 of 3.
Anybody from the defense that wants to go ahead and take this file and look at it, you're welcome to.
Just for the record, I've been informed April 29th was when Gaither, Sergeant Lieutenant Gaither testified previously.
April 29th of this year. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
8/2/22 is the date that those items were served in discovery. Is it 2?
And by those items, you mean
What's in that?
the contents of this brown paper file that's about 1.5 inches thick. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at now, and I'm looking through.
Okay.
This is what has been
And
pulled
so
up.
it's,
So,
I mean, y'all can,
and so I cannot speak to, I can't speak to anything regarding the stuff that was asked about that didn't exist because, one, I don't see it, I don't have it, and
all right, why don't both sides either confirm if you can or otherwise, whether the contents of that file, whether labeled at the time as belonging to Sergeant Gaither or not, were served back in 2022.
it appears that
That's again for the date of service of that.
it looks like we served one, the date that I just gave, we served August, what was the other one? August,
She said 8/2/22.
and 7/11/22 as well. That's what I'm looking at.
And can I ask one more question? Do you know where in the consolidated discovery?
The restricted gas discovery, it's like 600 billion US, you can buy them all. My spidey sense, I haven't physically looked at that, I'm pretty confident that, that's not a new file. That's like the same file that created that discovery back in July. And we're not at 30, 36, 30, 34. But it should say discovery 1 through 2. And discovery 1 in July. That's, I think that.
So it may be that the only thing that's new is that it may be realized that this is actually whatever part of Detective Gaither's file still exists.
It's new to us.
I mean, it's my understanding from what Ms. Love has said that it's new to her as well as of today.
No, that we had the red files. We scanned red files.
If you want, in Detective Gaither.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
Okay.
that I didn't know.
I know. Okay. And I mean, I'm just going to offer again with the Ms. Love, maybe when you talked to her outside, she said whatever she said to indicate, yeah, that might be my file, that you come in and you say to your opposing counsel, hey, you know what? The file of Detective Gaither's that we thought was entirely gone, well, you know what? Apparently a part of it is this portion that we sent you 2 years ago. You know, I mean, it just.
I do understand, but I just want to make clear that this is not something that was, we tried to conceal from anybody, given we served
I
this.
understand, obviously, if they confirm that they already have the contents, that's not necessarily up for debate. It's just that the knowledge that it's Sergeant Gaithers is new. And when you learn it, it'd be nice to share it with the other people.
And yes, Your Honor, I understand what the court is saying, but I do also remember when when questions were put upon this witness about the items that she had in her file, no one brought to her the discovery that they already had and said, "Is this what was in your file?" Whereas
Apparently, nobody knew where this came from.
they knew that this was Detective Gaithers, that this was Sergeant Gaithers' investigation. So I don't.
The stuff we're questioning her about was not in the stuff she claimed she did.
Is it-
That was not provided.
Okay, and it may still not exist. And we all know, I can't remember the dates for the hack, but we all know, because we practice in Fulton County, that there was some gigantic, what we call hack of the whole city, and APD legitimately lost a whole lot of files that were never able to be recovered. So, I mean, that's just a fact.
But we have a paper file, Your Honor.
I see that.
And the act does not affect paper files.
I understand that.
Investigator Gaither specifically testified that she wrote reports for certain things, they were in her file, that has now been lost.
Okay,
Now,
and you can ask her, she said that, what did she mean? Because like I just said, I mean, all of us in this day and age have things we print out and things we just keep on an electronic file that only exists in the, wherever it exists, in the cloud, and we never print it.
And Your Honor, I've also talked to Sergeant Gaither about not what she told them, but in previous, looking at previous information, having reviewed information that I know for a fact she kept on a terabyte drive, I asked, where is that? And she has told me in the past that the terabyte drive where she had all of her information about all her cases was connected to her desktop computer at the time that the hack occurred. So I don't have access to it. She didn't have access to it. I know that just from talking about other cases.
Okay.
So I didn't ask her specifically about this one, whether this was on that terabyte drive, because those weren't the questions that I put on her. Those are questions posed to her by counsel, like, where is this?
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
According to rule, just so we don't waste time, Your Honor, the question is, let me show you something from your file.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to object because even though it's potentially sounds like in Sergeant Gaither's file,
Mm-hmm.
retired Sergeant Gaither's file.
You're watching that special, aren't you?
No, I just got this great NFL offer. Guaranteed, all up front. And this was going to be hard to pass up.
Darius Zachary, did she attempt to locate, or did she have the kidnapping file?
Right.
Was she able to locate a phone number for Demise McMullen? And I still don't know who's handwriting that he was on the phone number information, but it was just going to be what was the phone number.
Okay, well, fine, what it was would be, I don't know why we have that echo.
We're good. I think we had one of them. And so initially what I was asking, because the number, it has already come out, that is the number. I think on cross-examination, Mr. Steele asked Mr. Sprinkle, did he find communication between Demise McMullen and Kenneth Copeland's the best I remember? I don't remember, but he specifically asked, did you see calls between Demise McMullen and somebody else? And I came back and said, what number is it that you have for Demise McMullen? Mr. Sprinkle gave that number.
And he thought was it, but he wasn't certain, you know.
No, he actually said this is the number. He didn't. Yes. And so all that I was doing with Sergeant Gaither is asking her, was that, and I started to ask the number because it was already,
Asked her if she found the number, but,
that's literally.
what the number was is subject to a valid hearsay objection. So you can't ask what the number was.
Okay.
How much longer do you expect to have with?
That was literally the last question.
We can talk about it during the non-jury days we're gonna have, but we've got to streamline this case some more. This is, you're just gonna have to figure out a faster way to get to what it is that you want from each witness. I mean, in federal court, you know, they might just say you got an hour with this witness. And
Do they limit both sides to cross and state?
We'll talk about the witness list next week.
And Your Honor, yes, yes, I
Oh,
understand.
yeah, we'll be done by 10 with this witness, and we haven't even gotten across yet. After having her all day yesterday.
She was here Monday, Judge.
Whenever it was.
Monday was 2 days ago. She waited all day and did not testify.
Oh, that's not the issue. The issue is how long she's on the stand testifying and how long every witness is on the stand testifying. And how many witnesses there are in this case. It's just a lot.
Your Honor, do the federal, are both sides restricted to an amount of time?
Well, I mean, I would imagine that it's not like they let one side go on forever, but the other side only gets 10 minutes.
And given that the state does have the burden of proof, Your Honor.
I understand that, which is why I haven't done it yet. But you'll need to self-regulate.
I provided the court with those cases, right?
So do the attorneys want to let your clients go have lunch while y'all examine this, or do you think y'all will be done in a few minutes and you want to question Gaither, or what's our best use of time?
I think it'll be done.
Oh, okay. And Your Honor, also, I'm being told I have not reviewed the transcript or anything, but I think that Sergeant Gaither may have said that she left APD and didn't have any of her files with her. I don't know with respect to that testimony, because what was represented is what she said.
I've been,
That seems to happen a lot, that detectives leave and they don't have access. And then for some reason, the DA's office, who would have access, doesn't seem to be able to get it. But that's just my observation.
Until they're due, right, that's,
What can we do?
I've been overruled by my colleagues, and we're asking for a little bit of time to review this, and we're asking for our clients to be allowed to.
Well, I don't know if their lunch has quite arrived yet, but it should arrive soon if it hasn't yet. So do we want to reconvene at like 12:20, which would give you all a half an hour, or 12:30, which would give you 40 minutes? Because if we're gonna. Not here yet. Okay.
12:20 will be.
Okay. Well, that might not be enough time if it hasn't arrived yet, but.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. They were going to eat while we were out. Okay.
I mean, ideally, well, there's no way that this group of lawyers can get anything done in 15 minutes. So no, if we're going to examine Detective Gaither before the jury comes back at 1, we need to be back before 12:45, because we're not doing this part in front of the jury. So 12:30. And the defendants can use the restroom before they eat. and get that out of the way. All right, see y'all back at 1.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching our coverage of the Young Thug trial. Now I want to take a quick second and I want to tell you about this stream's awesome sponsor, Upside. So what's Upside? Upside is a free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas and groceries. So when I go to pump my gas, I can use the Upside app and get cash back. Real cash back. It's money that appears in your Upside app that you can transfer straight into your bank account. So once you have the Upside app, you claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. You pay as usual using a debit or credit card. You follow the steps on the app and you get paid. And as you saw me just do, you can use Upside at places like Shell, Exxon, Mobil, 7-Eleven, Taco Bell. That's just to name a few, by the way. There are so many more. So to find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description to download Upside or scan the QR code on screen and use our promo code LC Live and you'll get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's promo code LC Live for an extra 25 cents back on your first gallon of gas.
I'm good, yo. Man, Chicago. Man, it's all right. I just do it to be doing it. Oh no, I don't even have Discord. Are you one of those people that be sending that link saying that you'll get $1,000 per stream? You want to learn by driving. And you can ask me, but I don't have Discord. Do Discord pay you to stream over there? My bad, Twitch. I'm talking to someone on Kick. What you think? I'm talking to myself. Three. You're what? Going good, man. You know, out here making money. No, I'm not in the yard, man. I'm at the rail yard. Sound good. Yeah, I'm on.
Do you have adequate visibility into your SaaS? You may think you do, but only 54% report having access.
Earn for the day and see.
Dumbass. Fuck.
Let's say you run a chip franchise where people get ripped, but you don't know if the music is too loud. Or maybe you're a marketer at a streetwear company, but you don't know brand influencers, supporters, or perhaps you own a skincare startup. But you don't know the latest trend for covering functions is accessories. Because you don't know what you don't know at your customers until it's over.
Judge at the time that right after counsel for defendants have had a chance to review the file. I went back out after I looked at the file some more and noticing the word copy on the file, as well as a copy of the state's demand, a state's demand for discovery, file stamp November 17, 2016, within the file, about the file. I went out and asked whether Sergeant Gaither kept things in her file that she had labeled copy, or did she keep the originals in her file? She said when she made copies for other people, she put the word copy on the documents, and every document in here has copy written on it. So there's also a handwritten set of notes within this file that she says is neither her writing nor just Detective Dennis's writing. And so what I believe that this is a copy of her file, the copy that was served on July 21st, 2022, and not her actual original. Even the document that I was looking at with respect to the name, Leonard Ladarius Zachary, has the word copy written on it. So she said her original file would not have copies. It would just have the original. So this appears to be, and I would ask that anyone who wants the opportunity to ask questions, and even reviewing the video of her and Ladarius Zachary's interview, she has a file holder in front of her that when she opens it up, before she opens it up, it has something white on the front that is not present on this particular file holder. So this looks like a copy of hers. Now, that's
Okay. These men are all fighting for rights. I don't know how we get to a point where we just grab a file and then just show it like the detective, and the detective's like, yeah, it's like my file in front of a jury. And then over a lunch break, then we determine, well, it's actually not her file. Like, and again, none of us were even told about the file before it was even presented in front of the witness. None of this makes any sense. If it's not her file, then it should have never been presented as her file.
If it's a copy of her file, I mean, why don't we just get her in and ask her? Go
bring your eye.
Ms. Lather, if you'll present her with that file, please. Sergeant Gaither, do you have any idea of what that document is or set of documents is that Ms. Lather just presented to you?
Looks like paperwork from my case with Dexter Montgomery case. The majority of these documents say copy, so I'm assuming it's a copy.
Can you either speak into the mic more or speak up more a little bit, please?
It appears to be documents from the Dexter Montgomery case file. The majority of these documents have copy on it, so I'm assuming it's a copy of the file.
A copy of the file, and why would a copy of your file have been made? Because it's still in like, folder form.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, the original, I never give up my original file to like the DA's office when it's requested to the complaint or a different attorney. So I would make a copy and give that to them as opposed to the actual file, the actual original folder.
Okay, and would you put it in a folder like that brown folder?
Yeah, it would be similar to this. It would have separate things. So in my case file would have like a white paper with a typed form on the front with the suspect name, case number, and address.
All right. Do any defense counsel have questions for Sergeant Gaither about this file? Come on up where she can hear me.
I know it's been said in court before, but it's Sergeant, right? Sergeant?
Yes, now I'm retired.
Okay. Good afternoon, Sergeant Gaither. Do you typically, when you send files to the DA's office, is your normal practice back when you were working as a police officer, would you make a copy of your file and send it to the DA's office?
If it was requested or portions of it, originally, when we sent the case over, we would, whatever we had for the complaint room, copies would be made, but the actual original file would not be given.
My understanding is that these copies would be made after arrest, after you close the case, correct?
Not necessarily after arrest.
Okay. Is that, I'm looking at kind of a Russ Brown file, that the typical appearance of one of the files that you would have copied or copy and sent to the DA's office?
Not all the time, but I do use these file folders like this.
Okay, so there's nothing about that file that indicates that's not something you sent to the DA's office?
No, I didn't?
Yes, there's nothing about that file itself. For instance, you're not saying, I've never used that type of folder or anything like that. That consists of something that you would send to the DA's office.
I've used it in the past. I've used manila folders. I've used envelopes.
And I'm going to ask, I think I know these, but you don't specifically remember what the appearance of the copy you made on the Dexter Montgomery case looked like.
Not the actual folder, or no, not the actual folder.
Okay, but the contents are consistent with copies that you would have made and sent to the DA's office. Correct?
Yes, they have copy on it with my initials and the date.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you for telling me that. Could you show me where your initials are?
Good. No initials.
So that initial right there, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time, I'm just trying to understand, that initial right there, is that in relation to that specific document, or is that the first document in the folder, so it relates to the folder itself?
If you're talking about the actual folder, not the contents, I can't say that I initial the folder, but the contents of a copy was made of a particular document.
Gotcha.
I will copy with my initials and the date.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Any other defense attorneys who have any questions for Sergeant Gaither about this issue?
Yeah, it's a good job.
Yeah. Okay,
May I just ask a question?
you may. Retired Sergeant Gaither does this file, is this the file that I asked you whether you recognize before you came in to testify the last time? This whole,
Just now, yes.
yes. And you mean when you say just, Yeah,
Then, the last time, are we talking about earlier today or are we talking about April?
Earlier today, is this the file that I asked you if you recognize? Did I ask you before you came in here before 11:30 and testified whether you recognized this file?
Yes.
Did you, at the time you looked at it, notice or take note of the fact that each of the documents inside from your file had the word copy on it? Did you notice that at that time?
Or you did, notice my initials just now?
No, not just now.
Oh, no, when you, prior to, yes, it's,
And when I spoke to you before you came in, before you testified where there was where the jury was in here, did I ask you specifically about an incident report that is on the back page of the file folder itself regarding Demise McMullen and the kidnapping?
yes,
Did I ask you did I ask you about if that was a part of your file?
yes,
Did I ask you at that time about some handwritten notes that are a part of this file
yes,
that I'm holding in my hand before you came in the last time?
yes.
Did I? When you're describing yes, what do you mean?
When I was sitting back here,
And when I asked you whose was this, did you know who it was? Did you tell me whether or not it appeared to be Detective Dennis's? Right. And did this appear to you to be Detective Dennis's writing?
no,
Before you started testifying, before when I asked you about it, did you notice then, before you were testifying in front of the jury, a certified copy of a conviction for Walter Murphy in the file before you got in front of the jury? On break, while we were at lunch, did I ask you whether you got this certified copy of Walter Murphy's conviction during, or would that have been in your original file?
yes, you asked me that.
Sorry,
Yes, you asked me that.
what was your answer?
No,
So this certified copy of Walter Murphy's conviction was not in your original file?
no, ma'am.
And this writing on this piece of paper I'm holding up wasn't either?
No,
But did I ask you about any of the things that had copy on them before you testified in front of the jury? Or was my question about what was in the back?
I was in the back of the garden. In the smoke.
And when you looked at it, did you tell me that it looked like your file?
Yes,
Are the documents that have copy on them copies of things that are in your original file?
yes,
Have I shown you any file pertaining to the Dexter Montgomery shooting other than the one that I'm holding now?
no,
Have I ever shown you these photographs that have copy on the back of them? Any original of these photographs that did not have copy?
no,
Inside the video for your interview with Quindarius Zachary, are you holding a file folder in your hands?
I believe it's on the table.
It's on the table?
I believe so.
Is that the file for the Dexter Montgomery shooting or something else?
I believe it's for
Oh, I'm sorry.
Adele.
Okay, for Adele?
The one that was on the table?
Yeah.
I
Okay,
believe that was for Adele Avenue.
okay. Thank you.
anything else? Yes,
Good afternoon.
Have you looked through, which everyone's calling the file, but I'm referring to the brownish colored, it's being held up right now. Have you looked through all those documents by any chance today?
Not thoroughly, no, sir.
All right. If the court lets you, would you just look through it and just tell us if there's anything from your file on this April 12th, I think I got the date right, April 12th, 2015 shooting, the Dexter Montgomery shooting, that is not in what Mr. Atkins is told there right now?
I couldn't tell you every piece of information or document that should be in the original file. That was almost 10 years ago. I couldn't tell you either way.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
When you make copies of your files for the DA's office, about cases that the DA's office will be prosecuting, do you omit pertinent police reports from those copied files?
Do I omit pertinent?
If you leave things out, or do you copy everything?
If it's information that I have from my original file, it will go into the copy.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Sergeant, good afternoon. Sir, good afternoon. A couple of questions just to follow up. You testified earlier that you said portions of it I will send over to the district attorney's office. Can you tell the court, as a practice pattern of what you do in terms of getting that information to the DA's office, what are those portions that you will send over to the district attorney's office when you're sending the file over?
Well, initially, I don't know if APD still uses the complaint room or what the process is now, but that's what I followed up with that question. A lot of information would not necessarily be in a complaint room case file that you would initially send over to the DA's office. So that's what I was speaking of. You would have the original police reports. There's surveillance stills or video, stuff like that would be sent over to the complaint room. If whatever district attorney is assigned to the case for preliminary hearings or information like that, if they would like the entire file, then the file would be copied and sent to them. So I was speaking more or less about portions of the file would be sent to the complaint room. Okay, that makes sense to you.
Okay, so what are generally the documents that you, as a matter of your practice, would routinely be held back with your office, with you and your file, that would not go to the district attorney's office?
Yeah, could he clarify when he says would not? Does he mean initially or ever?
Well,
I don't know
let's-
what he means.
Okay, well, let's just break that up. The documents that are in your file that you house in your folder as part of an investigation, you said portions will go to the district attorney's office. So that suggests to me that there are portions that don't.
To the district attorney's office, I mean the complaint room. So early on in the case, when you're charged and you obtain your warrant, it has to go to the complaint room. So a lot of information or documents may not exist yet until, let's say, after you interview the person, and you may obtain more information. So therefore, it will be added to the original file.
Okay, all right. So then it's basically the investigation is continuing to be ongoing from the time that some documents make it to the complaint room and some in the time that other pieces of your file will eventually go to the district attorney's office at a later date. Am I understanding you?
Correct. The complaint room is part of the district attorney's office, but it's one of the initial, I guess, attorneys that touch the case. So once the case is, I don't know what the process is of assigning a case to a particular district attorney to prosecute in court for preliminary hearings or trial. The initial portions of an original case file will go to the complaint room, which is just the first portion of evidence that you obtain. So the complaint room basically looks over your case and they make the determination if it's prosecutable or you need more things to go forward with the case actually being assigned to an actual attorney.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right.
And we have the date, the email date and the email, the copy of the email where the state served the copy of what was shown to Sergeant Gaither today in the original email.
So I guess just when the jury gets back out, clarify this in her original file, it's a copy of the file. And it's your belief, Sergeant Gaither, that what exists now is the copy that you made to send to the DA's office at whatever time they requested it. Is that fair?
It's fair, but like I said, it appears that they may have added some documents to that.
Once they have it in their possession.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, are we ready for the jury?
Yeah. On the lunch break, Mr. Sharp handed to Mr. Atkins a thumb drive of exhibits
Okay.
that he said he is going to use. At the time that he gave it to us, we could not open it or access it. And I think he did something in the last moments that allows us to access after what's on it.
Push it. Your Honor, we can use it now. Yeah. It's been rectified, Your Honor. Me and Mr. Sharp work together and.
Great, fantastic. I love it when attorneys can work together as professionals. That is wonderful. Okay, so you've had a chance to see what's on it?
No, we're looking.
Your Honor, because it was my fault for not being able to open it earlier, no, I have not been able to listen to all of them, but I have them. They're all clips from the video that was.
All right, great. And is the video already in?
It is.
Okay, thank you. All right, are we ready for the jury? Yes, okay, let's get the jury. Whatever.
Can Stonyfield organic yogurt with high-quality ingredients and no harmful pesticides save the world? Maybe not, but it could save you from saying, we have food at home. Again. Stonyfield Organic, good on purpose.
Before we broke for lunch, I asked you regarding the file that you kept in the Dexter Montgomery shooting, whether or not you looked at a file before you spoke in front of the jury that contained documents. Do you recall talking to the jury about that?
Yes.
And do you recall telling the jury or telling me that it looked like the file that you kept in the Dexter Montgomery case?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to look at portions of the file even more closely while you were on lunch break?
Yes.
And does the portions of the file that you looked at have the words copy on them.
Yes.
And was the file that you saw, did it contain portions of your file, your original file?
I'm going to overrule that. I think we're just trying to get through this to establish what this is. And we all, so.
Based on information we were just given, that's a misrepresentation of what it contains.
Okay, sustained. I don't know, ask another question. Ask it differently.
Okay. Is the file you looked at, in fact, your original file or copy of portions of the file?
It's a copy. It's not a copy of portions.
She can say what it is or what it isn't. She can say yes or no. And then she can explain.
From what I looked at, there are documents that were in my original file, and there are documents that were added to that particular file.
Okay.
It is not the original.
It what?
I don't believe that is my original file.
Okay. And in your original file, did you have information regarding a kidnapping involving Demise McMullen?
Yes.
All right. And in that report involving the kidnapping of Demise McMullen, did you have a phone number for Demise McMullen?
Yes.
And did you obtain or did you have someone on your behalf obtain records for that phone number? Cell phone records.
Yes.
Okay. Did the information you obtained regarding Demise McMullen after your interview with Quindarius Zachary, did it aid you in the investigation of the Dexter Montgomery shooting? Did those records that you obtained aid you in the investigation of the Dexter Montgomery shooting?
Sustained.
Did the information that you got from Quindarius Zachary about NARD, were you able to corroborate that information?
Objection vague.
Sustained.
Were you able to corroborate whether the person listed on State's Exhibit 503 that you got from Quindarius Zachary was in fact Nard or Demise McMullen?
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, is there cross-examination for this witness? All right, come on up.
Good afternoon, Detective Gaither, or Sergeant Gaither. Good afternoon. My name is Doug Weinstein. I represent Diamante Kendrick.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to ask you a few questions about your interview with Mr. Zachary. In that interview with Mr. Zachary, when he is asked where he got the information about the murder of Donovan Thomas, at one point, Zachary says, "Yak told me," correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you asked him, why? Presumably, why, why did Yak tell Zachary that information? Do you recall asking him why?
I do.
But he didn't respond to that. He did not give you a why as to why Yak would tell Mr. Zachary that. Correct?
Objection, Your Honor. The video is the best evidence of that.
After he didn't tell you why,
Objection assumes facts, not in evidence.
it's in the video.
Your Honor,
Overruled.
After he didn't tell you why, you didn't follow up at all, did you?
Follow up with what, sir?
You didn't ask him repeatedly why. You did not delve into that further. You let the conversation go a completely
objection,
different
vague
direction,
and
correct?
compound.
Sustained.
After he failed to answer your question, you did not follow up, correct? Follow up why?
I'm not
Vague,
understanding.
objection, vague.
Follow up is a very simple term. After he failed to answer your question as to why, you did not again ask why, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you also asked a little later in that same interview, what exactly did they say? What exactly did Yak say? Do you recall that?
And what portion of the interview?
In what portion?
You stated that
About 35 minutes into the interview, okay, you say, what exactly did they say? What exactly did Yak? You don't use the word Yak, but you're referring to Shannon and Yak. Do you remember asking what exactly did they say?
I'm not recalling which context or what part of the interview you're speaking of.
Okay. So you don't remember asking what did they say?
I don't know.
I'm just want to ask, you don't remember?
Objection, Your Honor. Number one, that last question is harassing. It was asked and answered. And number two, if Mr. Weinstein has something she says she doesn't recall or know what he's talking about.
I can move on. It's fine.
Okay.
I'll withdraw the question. Mr. Zachary never told you in that interview exactly what Yak said, correct?
He did.
I'm sorry?
He did.
He did. What did he tell you that Yak said?
From to my recollection, he stated that Yak told him about the murder as well.
But you asked, what exactly did he say? Right? That's what you asked him. What did Yak say? For example, correct?
I asked him, what did Yak say? Yes.
Right? And you asked also, what did Shannon say? Do you recall that?
I do.
And do you remember allegedly, Shannon's answer, what Shannon told Zachary? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll withdraw that. What did Quindarius Zachary say that Shannon told Zachary?
That they called Nut down bad, and he also stated that Yak told him the people that were involved with the murder, the names. That's in the interview as well. That he stated Yak said.
But you didn't get an exact quote like that. You got nothing like that, correct? You didn't get the word. Let me stop right there. You didn't get an exact quote like that, correct?
Objection, fake.
Sustained.
You did not get a quote from Zachary about what Yak allegedly said the same way that you got a quote from Zachary about what Shannon allegedly said,
Objection
correct?
relevance and objection fake as to the,
Overruled. If you don't understand the question, Sergeant, just say that.
I understand this question. He gave me the names of the people that were involved. He did not elaborate more about exactly what Yak said.
Okay, but could you answer the question that I asked?
What's your question again, sir?
Can I have the court reporter read the question back? Because I doubt I could replicate it the same way.
I think spoke exactly about what, allegedly said, the same way that you got folks exactly about what Shannon allegedly said, correct?
Correct.
So you didn't really ask Zachary a lot of detail as to the specific information that Mr. Kendrick, Yak, allegedly said to Mr. Zachary, correct?
Specifically, he stated the names that Yak told him that were involved.
When you are asking Zachary about Diamante Kendrick, you didn't, for example, ask Zachary the reasons that Yak may have disclosed that information to Zachary.
objection that would have called for speculation that she would not have been able to. That would not be admissible anyway unless it came from.
You can ask the question, whether she asked the question.
And an objection relevance as to whether she would have asked Mr. Zachary to speculate about what is in Mr. Kendrick's mind.
She asked Mr. Zachary lots of questions about reasons and motivations for people doing things.
I believe Mr. Quindarius offered information about your client.
Okay, but can you answer my question?
What's your question again?
Would the court reporter please read the question back?
That's exactly the last question about reasons, motivations, support.
You did the question before that.
Yeah, no, it's my fault. I'm sorry. Thank you for your help. Could you read the question before that part?
There's going to be a lot of back and forth between the two of them before you get to the question.
For example, exactly the reasons that they have disclosed that information to Zachary.
Did I ask him the reasons?
Did you ask him the reasons?
No, I did not.
Okay. So really, you didn't ask Mr. Zachary a lot of questions about the specific information that he allegedly got from Diamante Kendrick.
No, that's not in the video.
Sorry?
No, that's not. On the video, no, I didn't.
I'm sorry.
No, I did not.
Okay. Let me ask you something else. There was a discussion on Direct about the shooting at Club Crucial around January 6th, I believe. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
And one of the things you testified to is that Diamante Kendrick, he got arrested up the street from Club Crucial. You remember that?
I didn't say up the street from Club Crucial. She asked me if I knew that he was arrested that night of January 6th, and I stated after.
Okay.
I found out after.
You found out after?
Yes, sir.
And you know that arrest had nothing to do with that shooting at Club Crucial.
I don't know. I didn't charge him for that.
He wasn't, I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. So,
I object to assuming facts not in evidence.
Stand.
there's been, can I just respond? We've had officers in here
Your Honor,
testify.
Move on to the next question.
Okay. Also, earlier today, you testified when we're talking about how you corroborated information, that one of the ways you corroborated the information that Mr. Zachary gave you was because Zachary, Sledge, and Turner all were from Capitol Homes. Do you recall that?
How I corroborated information?
Yes.
I don't believe I answered. Corroboration came from them because they were from Capitol Hill.
That wouldn't make any sense, would it?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance and
That wouldn't make any sense, would it? To anyone that you corroborate information because they are from Capitol Homes.
Your Honor, objection. Number one, it mischaracterizes the testimony.
James,
Would them coming from Capitol Homes, them being Zachary, Sledge, and Turner, corroborate anything?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Would that corroborate anything, the fact that they are from Capitol Homes?
Are we talking about something specific?
My name is Alfonso, and I got Contact Cosmetics by the first time. The lines that I was concerned the most about were on my forehead. I'm really happy with my results. Talk to your doctor about Botox Cosmetic and whether it's right for you. The effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
I'm Justice Linda Davenport, and I want to keep working as your appellate justice in the 3rd District. Every day I use my decades of experience to ensure that justice is properly served and applied equally. Before being appointed to the appellate court in 2022, I was the first Democrat ever elected to the circuit court in DuPage County in 179 years. Prior to that, I ran my own law firm for 26 years and served as president of the DuPage County Bar Association. When it comes to your courts, experience matters.
But they're retired Sergeant Gaither. I think you know this, but my name is Max Chard. I represent Shannon Stillwell. Yes, sir. I wanted to first talk about this file. May I approach the witness with the file? Can I just refer to you as Sergeant Gaither? I know you're retired, but okay, sure. All right, thank you. Sergeant Gaither, as I understand it, you were the lead investigator on the Dexter Montgomery shooting case, correct? Yes. Okay, not the secondary investigator. I'm sorry. That shooting was from April 12th, 2015.
The secondary investigator, yes. It was originally assigned to someone, and then my unit took over the case.
You eventually took over?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as part of your duties as the lead investigator, once you took over, you maintained a case file, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that case file was an original file that would have the work you did, the police reports generated, and all the information regarding the work that you did on the case, correct?
Your Honor, these questions were asked and answered several months ago, the first time that Sergeant Gaither was on.
they were, let's not go over it again.
Well, you now have the case. You have the case.
Well, no, we don't.
Okay, we have the copy. Yeah. So,
Your Honor, I object to the testimony that the jury has heard, what the witnesses said, and I object to Mr. Sharp attempting to put information before the jury that she's not said. And
Okay, just ask her a question about
So,
that. Don't
as-
recover stuff that's already been established.
as I understand, that original case file was left in a cabinet in
objection, that was asked and answered.
It's overall, it's just recalling her to whatever it was she said before, but move on and get to whatever you want to ask now.
As I recall, you've testified that that original case file was left in a cabinet of APD when you left. Yes, okay. And you have now identified that file that's next to you that Ms. Love brought to court today as a copy of that file, correct?
I don't think those were my exact words.
What are your exact words?
As stated, there are portions of this file that are copies of my original file.
Okay, so let me break that down. It's a copy of your original file, but then there's also additional materials that someone else added.
Objection, Your Honor, mischaracterizes what it is.
And she can correct me if I'm wrong.
This is overruled.
Is that correct? That it was your original file, that's a copy of your original file and then someone else added some other documents.
I cannot tell you if that is my original file because I don't remember all of the contents of the original file. There are portions and documents of things that were in my original file that are now in this folder right here. And there are also portions that I don't know where they came from that are in this folder as well.
Okay. And when you make a copy of your original file and send it to the DA's office, you would want to include the pertinent parts of your investigation, correct?
Sure.
Because they're the ones that are going to be prosecuting the case, the DA's office.
And at what stage of the case, like I stated to this gentleman here, different stages of the case going through the court system, you will receive different pieces of evidence. And maybe starting in the beginning of the complaint room, you may not have all pieces of evidence or documents that'll end up in your original file at the end. So therefore, different stages that the case goes to the DA's office, you may not have all of the information.
It would contain the information for the work that you had done up to that point.
In the original file or portions of the file. At different stages, once again, you will receive different pieces of information. When I'm done with the case,
702.
the case will be in that original file.
Right. And the original files are sent to the DA's office. Correct?
Sir, I don't know a different way to explain to you what I'm saying. I don't know.
Your Honor, objection as to relevance and objection. She's asked it.
Sustained.
Okay. As the lead investigator of the Dexter Montgomery case, the shooting back in 2015, do you remember the names Cornelius Davis, Carrion Mooney, and Christian James?
Objection, Your Honor. These were covered months ago. The same question.
That's why
I said answer.
Calling it. We're calling it for the jury.
On our hands.
Go ahead.
Do you recall all the names Cornelius Davis, Carrion Mooney, and Christian James?
Yes.
Okay, they were individuals that were, your investigation led you to believe were in the car with Dexter Montgomery at the time he was shot, correct?
Your Honor, this again, asked and answered, so objection.
Okay, I don't know what we're getting at here.
I'll get there soon.
They're really sick.
Those are individuals that were in the car with Dexter Montgomery for your investigation?
They were victims in that case, yes, sir.
Okay. And they were also witnesses?
Sure.
All right. Your Honor, I would like to play some prior testimony from April 29th, 2024.
Your Honor, I object.
That's this witness.
Yes.
I object to, the jury has already heard the testimony.
For what purpose? Y'all approach.
Something wrong with that guy, man. I say something wrong with that guy.
Every action we take has an impact, but what if we could turn our everyday journeys into a force for good? By driving to donate, you're not just clearing out your space, you're making a conscious choice to reduce waste. When you donate to the Salvation Army, you're giving your items a second chance and keeping them out of landfills. Every donation is a selfless act of kindness, extending a helping hand to those in your community. Together, we can make a difference. One item, one drop, one community at a time.
This is Kathy, anxious about protecting her growing team from malware and phishing attacks and threats to their data. And this is future Kathy, feeling in control with her fleet of Acer TravelMate laptops, knowing that the multi-layer protection of Intel vPro and Windows 11 Pro reliably secures her team from threats, while giving her the power to lock or wipe any vulnerable device remotely. This is Kathy choosing the Acer TravelMate, the secured core AI PC built for her business, making her future certain. A certainty, make it certain.
Not going to ask you anything else about the case file. Let's talk about August 5th, 2015. And that was the date of the interview with Mr. Zachary, correct? Okay. Could you speak up a little? Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Zachary was in jail, correct? Yes, he was in custody. All right, and he was in custody for a series of shooting residences from April 28, 2015. You were the lead investigator in that case. Later on, yes. Okay. You were the one that took out the warrants for Mr. Zachary. Yes. All right. And he was arrested on that case on July 28th of 2015, correct? She says she doesn't know the exact charges, so I'm trying to work through it. But do you recall charging him with aggravated battery for shooting Denise Bell?
Yes, I'm speaking of when you say counts, I can't recall how many exact counts.
That's what I understand, and I'm not going to press you on that. Okay. Criminal damage to property.
Okay.
Was that gang charges?
It sounds about right. I don't know off the top of my head everything that he was charged with.
You charge him with gang charges, gang act violations.
Yes.
And you charge him with possession of firearm during commission of a felony.
It sounds about right.
And he also had pending, he was still on bond for it, but he had pending the case from May 5th of 2015 when an officer found a gun in Summer Good's car, correct?
Okay.
You discussed that in the interview about his bond conditions and all the rest.
I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
It was before, so I'm sure the case wasn't resolved by the time I talked to him in August.
Okay, so he has his case of shooting the houses, and then he had a separate case.
Okay.
I want to say, of course not, is what I stated, Of course not. Of course not. Why did you say of course not? Because we all know that he didn't. We watched several interviews with him and he did not state anything about that. That would have been against his legal interests, right?
As to
Sustained.
In fact, Mr. Copeland said he's not doing anything out in the streets. He said that people were always throwing his name and things that other people did, correct?
relevance and the best evidence was what they've already seen.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You, as an investigator, wanted to talk to Mr. Zachary when you had him in the interrogation room about things he was accused of first. That was your first line of questioning, correct? The case that I had. Right, shooting up the houses from the employment. Correct. Your Honor, permission to publish DS-41A.
If that's wrong with clinic.
Right, and it's 21851 to 22201.
Your Honor, with respect to, Your Honor. Okay, so I would object under 403 since the jury just heard this entire interview, and ask that if there's a question, that the question be posed, but this portion of the entire interview has been played for the jury.
That's true. It's very recently played. Last year, aspect in this, and then shooting sort of recollection of correct that.
You focused on the exact on April 20th, 2015 incident, right? And in the beginning of that interview. Okay, and his first thing he said to me was, I wasn't there, correct? Yes. Okay. And he claimed to have information about the shooting, correct?
Your Honor, this has been asked, answered, shown. Your Honor, I have no ask this.
It doesn't matter whether you particularly have asked. It's already been asked.
By the state. I'm not trying to argue the sport, but I mean, I've been up here for 5 minutes.
Just move on to something that we don't have the answer to yet.
Yeah. Mr. Zachary told you that Demetrian told him all about what happened, correct? Demetrian Garland. About what, sir? The 28th, 2015 shooting that you found subject. I don't believe that was exactly what he said. Your Honor, may I play the video?
You may.
Thank you. Can we publish 41A, Mr. Copeland? And that is 21851 to 22201. You finish up. What do you have to say about the case? What did you hear about it? I need to either the you don't know.
Frank's Red Hot is celebrating humans. Tailgate, the unsung superfan with 6 new dip it in squeeze sauces that kick every tailgate spread up a notch. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Yeah, she owns the name, but she bought it home. Even though addiction, but where is this at? Okay, this is on the top.
Playing for the double. Okay. So who's the lady? I'm cousin. It's a, that's the doctor. She was cousin. People say, so this guy got to shoot that down that lane. Yeah. Is this before or after he got shot? I think that's just. She said he got lane. I don't know. So first he get down to him. Then shoot that. Y'all next like, oh, I heard, like, when I heard her, I'm like, oh, I'm like, shoot, the car or something, so that. But then she like, oh, I'm like, because he out the details and making sure that they issue I'm supposed to. They can't find out. She's like, oh. They don't decode, which is decode at once, like, they, decode is that, say that, kind of get through that part. When you say decode, the big camera, they realize, even though the big 30 decode, we're going to see the big camera. We can't go away from home. The headshots out. The headshots out. They all say, little chat. It is open up and say, say chat. And so all of us trade up. You can say, trade up. Yeah. He told you person, yeah. I tell you the phone, he'll say, he told the phone, he told them really not how they and we're $70,000 what they say. So this guy came back, try to say out, almost like I guess.
So after seeing that video, you would agree that Mr. Zachary first said he wasn't there. Yes. But he said he had information about what happened. Right? Yes. And he said he got that information because Demekion came over his house and confessed it all the next day.
Your Honor,
He didn't use
I object to the best evidence. And so,
Did you finish your question? His source, he claimed his source of information was not from being there, but from Demekion telling him the next day. Correct. And also that portion, that first story that he just told about Demekion telling him and all this was a lie, that he was actually doing. Well, I understand that, but I'm not asking if it's true. That's what he told us. That's what he told me. Okay. And you had records, phone records. So I'm not asking you to comment on anyone's veracity, but you were believing what he was saying. He wasn't fooling when he told you that.
Your Honor, this is asked and answer objection. It's going to be.
Okay. Later on, you called him out. When I say later on, I'm talking about just after that clip. You called him out on what he was saying, correct? You challenged him.
Objection under 403 they've just heard and he's been asked.
Okay. He's trying to do his examination, so I'm going to overrule that one.
You challenged him, correct? Yes. Okay. And he pled with you. He said, I'm being honest. Is that a question?
Let's hear it.
No, that wasn't on that clip. That wasn't on that clip. He told you in the interview room he was being honest.
Objection, Your Honor. They saw it on the other clip. So that's evidence.
Sustained.
Okay. He promised you he wasn't there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I object. Best evidence. The jury has seen it. They keep asked and answered.
If it's such evidence, I will gladly play the clip. Is that?
Your Honor, they've already seen it. This has been asked and answered.
Sustained.
All right. Okay. Still talking about April 28th. Okay. April 28th, through your investigation, you came to realize that there was a shooting at Landrum, correct?
No.
Yes. I would object, asked, answered, and that's evidence.
The lead investigator case, there was a shooting at Landrum, correct?
That's what Mr. Zachary stated. I don't believe I was able to find any evidence that that occurred.
Okay,
Just to the best of my recollection, I don't believe I didn't.
that's fair. Mr. Zachary claimed that his cousin Alexis Bryant and his girlfriend Summer Good were in that residence at Landrum when that shooting occurred. What he was claiming was a shooting occurred, correct?
Okay. Yes.
All right. And the story was that Summer Good, his girlfriend, called him for help. Correct?
Yes.
And as lead investigator on this case, you're aware that at Adele and Drew Drive, the subsequent shootings for which Mr. Zachary was charged, there were shell casings found on those scenes, correct?
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Zachary, you're aware that he was arrested with a certain gun on May 7, 2015.
A certain gun?
Yes.
Yes, he was arrested with a firearm.
Okay. And that was 9 days after the April 28th shooting, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the ballistics from the shell casings at the scenes that you were investigating match the ballistics of the gun.
On hearsay unless there's a stipulation. So I'm gonna sustain.
Okay. We'll move on. Mr. Zachary, in his statements to you, stated that he didn't shoot. Once he admitted he was there, he claimed he didn't shoot at anyone. Correct. He stated that Mr. Sledge never shot.
That's what he stated, yes.
Okay. And he named shooters as Shannon Stillwell, Shannon Jack, Lee Caldwell, or he said Lee. Okay. And you have said in court that you looked at some social media post with Trevante and Lee, correct? And straight on. Okay. Shannon was not in this social media post.
No.
Okay. When did you look at this social media post?
Exact date, I'm unsure of, but it was during the early portion of this Operation Planners, the Donovan Thomas murder investigation with the retaliatory shootings.
So it happened in 2015, you looked at this social media post?
Yes, the early part of 2015.
Okay. Did you print out that social media post?
Print it? No.
Do you have that social media post?
I did. It was on a terabyte jump drive that I had that was damaged when the city of Atlanta had some type of cyber attack. But I did have the actual photograph of it.
So we don't have that social media post in court here today.
I don't know if Ms. Love didn't have it. I don't have it.
Okay. Regardless of this post that you found involving that had Trevante Turner and Lee Caldwell in it, you never charged Trevante Turner or Lee Caldwell with anything regarding.
Your Honor, I object based on in 403, asked and answered in depth.
No, there was no corroborating evidence to say that they were involved.
Okay.
Outside of what Mr. Zachary said.
And in the 9.5 years that have passed since April 28, 2015, you never charged Shannon Stillwell with any of these incidents from April 28, 2015.
I've been retired since 2020.
Okay. So from April 28, 2015 to your retirement date in 2020, you never charged Janice Stillwell with any of the events from April 28, 2015.
No.
You talked to Mr. Zachary about the Lil Wayne bus shooting from 2015, correct?
Briefly.
Okay.